Okay, let's dive right into this. Have you ever looked at your paycheck, seen a pretty big number, but then looked at your life and felt like you weren't actually getting, wealthy? It's a huge paradox that so many high earners get stuck in. You're making good money for sure, but that dream of financial freedom, it feels just as far away as ever. So today we're going to break down exactly why that happens and what the truly wealthy do that's so different. This feeling is captured perfectly by this one quote from Dr. Wesley. He's a wealth consultant now, but he used to be a high-ranking corporate director. I mean, he had the title, all the perks, a massive salary, the whole shebang. But his wife saw something he couldn't see. And her saying that, it reveals this really painful truth. There is a huge, huge difference between having a high income and building real, lasting wealth. So what are we really talking about here? Well, a high income, that often comes with what we call golden handcuffs. It's a great salary, yeah, and awesome perks, but you are chained to that job. The reality of having low wealth, on the other hand, is that you have zero real freedom. You're getting slammed with massive taxes, and you're not actually building a base of real assets that can grow on their own. You're basically just running on a very, very well-paid hamster wheel. And to get off that hamster wheel, the very first thing you have to understand is that money is a game. Seriously. And just like any other game, whether it's chess or football, it has winners, it has losers, and most importantly, it has a set of rules. And if you don't know the rules of the game, well, you've got no chance of winning. And according to Dr. Wesley, it all boils down to three foundational rules that govern this entire game: the rule of secrecy, the rule of team, and the rule of measurement. Understanding these isn't just a good idea, it's absolutely the first critical step you have to take to shift your whole mindset from just earning money to actually winning the game. Let's start with this rule of secrecy. I mean, think about it for a second. Your entire education, from kindergarten through college, it teaches you how to get a good job and work for money. But when did they ever teach you how to build actual wealth? Right, they don't. That knowledge is often kept separate, almost like a company's secret formula, and it's definitely not something they teach in school. Okay, next up is the rule of team. Here's the thing. You can earn a high income all by yourself. You can be a rock star employee or a consultant, but you absolutely cannot build significant wealth alone. It's just not possible. Wealth creation is a team sport. It's all about leveraging other people's time, their skills, and their capital. Warren Buffett's famous quote here really nails it. To make money while you sleep, you need systems and people working with you, building something that's way bigger than just your own individual effort. And that brings us to the third rule, the rule of measurement. So let me just ask you, straight up, do you know your net worth? Like right now, today. Because what gets measured gets managed. It's as simple as that. You can't possibly grow your wealth if you don't even know what it is. Your net worth, that's the scoreboard for your personal money game. And just think about how powerful measurement is on a global scale. The only reason we know the US has the world's largest economy is because we measure its GDP, a staggering $28 trillion, with China in second place at $18 trillion. This simple act of measuring allows entire countries to track their progress and strategize for the future. Well, that exact same principle applies to your personal wealth. Okay, so you get the rules now. Secrecy, team, measurement. The big question is, now what, right? How do you actually apply this stuff and start building some real wealth? Well, it all comes down to making four really critical transitions in your life, moving from the mindset of an employee to the mindset of an owner. But before we jump into those transitions, I want you to just look at this number. $300 million. That was the estimated earnings of boxer Mike Tyson when he was just 20 years old. I mean, that's an almost unimaginable amount of income, right? And yet, despite earning hundreds of millions of dollars, he declared bankruptcy in 2003. This is probably the single most powerful proof you will ever see that a massive income does not equal wealth. It's just a brutal reminder that it's not about what you make. It's about what you do with what you make. That's what really matters. And that's exactly where this roadmap comes in. To avoid that income trap, the Mike Tyson trap, you've got to make four crucial transitions. The transition of mindset, the transition of assets, the transition of quadrants, and finally, the transition of structure. So the first big transition is all about assets. See, when you work a 9-to-5 job, you are the asset. If you stop working, the income stops, period. The goal is to shift from being the asset to owning assets. And historically, real wealth is created in one of these four categories: owning a business, real estate, commodities, or paper assets like stocks and shares. These are the things that make money for you, even when you're not actively working. Next up is the transition of quadrants, which was made famous by Robert Kiyosaki. It's pretty simple. On the left side, you've got employees and the self-employed. They're basically trading their time for money. But on the right side, you have business owners and investors. They build systems and they own assets. The real magic, the real wealth building, happens over on the right side of this quadrant, by leveraging the time and the skills of the people on the left. And finally, we have the transition of structure. And guys, this one is huge. For an employee, the financial equation is simple. You earn income, the government immediately takes its tax, and then you get to pay your expenses with whatever is left. For a business owner, though, that structure is flipped on its head. You earn income, you pay all your legitimate business expenses first, and then you pay tax on what's left over. This isn't some shady loophole. It's a fundamental, legally distinct advantage that changes absolutely everything. Now let's say you've done it. You've made these transitions and you've successfully built your wealth. A whole new challenge pops up. How do you make it last? Because creating wealth is one thing, but preserving it for your children and their children, that's an entirely different game. The great enemy of generational wealth is this concept from physics called entropy. Think about it like this. An ice cube melts when you take it out of the freezer, right? Well, wealth has that same natural tendency to just fall apart and disappear once the person and the specific conditions that created it are gone. Without a deliberate plan, it will just dissipate. So how in the world do you fight something like entropy? The answer is by transferring 5 distinct types of capital to the next generation. And spoiler alert, it's not just about the money. You have to pass on human capital, intellectual capital, social capital, spiritual capital, and only then, finally, financial capital. And this is probably the most crucial point about building a legacy. The financial capital, the cash, the stocks, the real estate, that's just the fruit on the tree. The other 4 capitals, those are the roots. They're the foundation. Preserving a legacy really means transferring the work ethic, the knowledge, the network, and the core values that allowed that tree to grow in the first place. You see, the wealthy families who actually succeed at this, they instill a really powerful mindset in their kids and grandkids. It's a commitment, almost like a family credo, that frames wealth not as an entitlement, but as a deep responsibility. The goal isn't just to hang on to the wealth, but to build upon it, to make it even better. So, after going through the rules, the transitions, and the keys to making it all last, the final question really is for you. Society, school, your parents, they've all taught you how to work for money. The real question is, are you ready to learn the game, make the shift, and finally start making your money work for you